Jeremy, good morning.
Good morning, Eric.
How are you?
I'm good, man.
Podcast 53.
Yes, sir.
We made it.
You always say that.
What?
You always say that.
So, today we're going to talk about your awesome plant medicine retreat that you were just on. Man, I feel like I haven't done this in a while because you and Sam did the last one. Megan did the one before. Wow.
Yeah, it's been like 4 podcasts for you and I.
I literally feel like I'm not, I don't know how to explain it, on it.
You're not on it? Well, let's get you on it.
We'll
Drink some water.
We'll get on it. But no, quick update. We're in the 9.
We are in the 9. We just had our grand opening party. It was great.
It was exciting.
It was exciting. Saw a lot of friends, a lot of clients, some new people from the building came, signed up a client right away from the building.
Right.
So
some other big opportunities. Yeah. But what's exciting is that, a lot of people are now living and obviously post-COVID working at the working downtown Cleveland. And so it couldn't be better timing, I think. Also, we're going into winter time and fourth quarter and New Year's and New Year's resolutions. It just feels so right. It's going to be amazing.
It is right.
Everything's right.
Everything is right.
Because you saw it on your plant medicine trip, which we'll get
to
there's
in
a
plan.
minute.
There is a plan for everything.
What else is new? How are your Browns? Yes,
Next. What was the stat that you said? 2,100 games. A team that's been up by 13 points or more with less than 2 minutes has won. 21 games in a row.
2,100 games in a row. Any team that's been up by 13 or more with going into 2 minutes left in the game have won 2,100 games in a row. And the last team to lose were the Browns.
The last 2 teams now to lose.
The last 2 teams
the Browns.
now. And that was 20 years ago. 2001, 21 years ago. So
it's challenging to be a Browns fan.
It's really challenging. Man, we had that game won. We almost had to try to lose that game.
Yeah.
There's
but anyways,
so many fingers you can point at just defense and special teams and missed extra point field goal of a guy that just made a 60-yarder the week before to win the game for us. And just, man, so many head scratching there is going on.
Mm-hmm.
What is going on? How is this possible?
Just goes to show you that anything's possible.
Yeah. I mean, 99.9% chance to win were the odds going into 2 minutes. 99.9, which means 0.1%. There's always a chance.
There's always a chance.
There's always a chance.
Anything's possible.
Any other small talk you want to?
That's big talk. You just had to ruin my mood. No, I'm just kidding.
But that's the point. It had to be discussed. Some of the things. One of the new quotes that we painted on the 9 wall on what seems impossible today is tomorrow's warm up.
Mm-hmm.
It all falls under that line. I talk to people about my personal transformation. That a year and a half ago, I would have bet you whatever you want to bet that no one changes and that no one can change. And I would have bet you a lot of money. There was a 99.9% chance in my head, like that's how sick I was and whatever else, that I wouldn't be sitting here today healthier. By the way, I had my checkup.
And?
Man, everything's in the right ranges.
Good, man. Good.
I've never had blood results like that. Just cholesterol's fine. Sugar's fine. Man, everything's fine. Knock on wood.
Good. You put in the work, so it should be fine.
I don't know all the details. Maybe I'm still in the high or low ranges of fine, which could possibly be tweaked, but literally zero issues.
Putting in the work, life is good.
I mean, it just shows what a year makes. So everything is possible is our point. Everything is possible.
Everything's possible.
In, including the Browns.
Yeah.
Damn. All right.
Anyways,
We're
there's
gonna
always
move on.
Thursday. Yeah.
There's always Thursday. We're playing
Pittsburgh.
our favorite Steelers.
Yep.
And
That's going to be a win.
you think?
Yeah.
I mean, odds are so good.
Odds are so good.
All right. So let's get into your retreat. This is our third or fourth podcast on plant medicine.
You might actually be the fifth.
Might be the
Ayahuasca
fifth.
part 1, part 2, and then part 2 of ayahuasca, which we did 2 recordings also.
But you're right, and we had Genesee here, which
Yeah.
that was the topic.
Yeah.
A big topic as well. But and this is a big deal for you. You really, I want to say, get into it. Would you say you get into it way more than others that actually do it?
That actually do it? I don't think so. I think anyone that does plant medicine sees its value and benefit, and it just sticks with them forever. And they'll talk about their experiences and so on.
But you read a lot of psychological, spiritual life, universe content, right? Books, podcasts. Like you're 24/7 with that, meditating, literally doing what plant medicine does in your meditations without the plant medicine. Like you really take it to a very high level. How many people that do it take it to such a level, you think?
Well, I don't know the answer to that. I know why I do it and take it to such a high level is because, first of all, the changes that I've experienced, and second of all, just
that was going to
knowing.
be my follow-up question was why do you do that? But
Yeah.
I just wanted to get a frame of reference, like when you're in, Orlando and there's 50 people there, how many others would you say take it to a high level? Is it 10 out of the 50? Is it half? Is it all 50? Like once you're in, you really go in.
I think once you're in if you integrate outside of, the experience. And I think it also
And integrate
means
is taking the experience.
sharing it, and building upon it. Now, just to again say why I'm so into it is because I know that this is my life's purpose. And what I mean by this, not just plant medicine, but helping others heal, right? Get better. I know that that's my life purpose. So it's like I'm doing the research for that. Why I read books, why I listen to podcasts, why I do plant medicine. Obviously, it's to also heal myself, but it is to help others and bring back more information.
Right.
And I share everything. I mean, when you train and coach clients all day long, they're going to ask you, how was your experience? So I share with it. Maybe some people that go do plant medicine, they come back to their 9 to 5. The people that they work with, number one, don't know that they went to a retreat, or that they just might not be in the sharing mode yet.
Got it. You don't think it's one of those where everyone around people that do it know that they've done it?
I don't know. Hopefully, I think the word is definitely getting out. I mean, just in like the past 10 years, look at the growth of plant medicine. I mean, we didn't even know about this 10 years ago. And here we are on our 5th podcast. Plus in California now, they're like literally about to pass a law where MDMA and psilocybin, which is the active ingredient in mushroom, is about to be legal for clinical use and trials, which is huge.
Got it.
So
clinical use, but not recreation.
Well, I don't think any of this should be done recreationally. Like you should, even if you don't go to a doctor to do it, if you're going to do it in a ceremonial way, which is how I've been doing it every time, you can call that a clinical setting as well. It's just not official.
Got it. So when it does become legal and clinical, it could be a zeroed out thing.
It sure could. Maybe one day.
Maybe you're doing field research right now.
Exactly.
So, okay, so what? Just catch the audience up for those that didn't hear the previous sessions. Catch people up quickly in a minute or two of your journey so far with plant medicine, and then we'll get into this one.
So the first time I did plant medicine in a ceremonial way was actually ayahuasca. That was back in July of last year. It was amazing. I basically experienced what the whole plan and blueprint of life is, which is to just manifest and create love, and that we are all one being. That was the first ayahuasca experience. I went back a second time. It was totally different. It was more of a kind of like a healing and also a connection. That was when I had connected on the last day with Tony, my wife, who had passed away about 18 months ago. And in between that, I had met Genesee, who was on our last podcast, and she facilitates Tepes Guite ceremonies, which is what we're going to talk about today. It's different than ayahuasca in that you actually smoke it versus ayahuasca, you drink it. So the effects are way more intense, but they're shorter lived. And the experience is definitely totally different. So I've done some ceremonies with her with Tepes Guite. This was the first retreat with Tepes Guite, and it was in Tulum. I've never been to Tulum. I've always heard great things, so I decided to do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I went in, when was that? That was September 1st. And it was actually a 6-day, it was a 6-day thing, but we did Tepes Guite 5 out of the 6 days.
Okay, so journey of consciousness during these trips.
What's journey of consciousness? Yeah, it's always elevated. It's always.
That's what I was getting to. Do you feel you're going deeper, higher, more connected? Like,
So I'll be honest.
Do you feel like you're getting better at it? I don't.
It's not that you're getting better at it. So the first time, again, with ayahuasca, I saw everything I needed to see. There's pretty much nothing else that I needed to see and know. The plant medicine just gave me the gift right away. And for some people, it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen for a while because they have to clear out old baggage first.
Right.
And then they get to see what I experienced. So I saw it right away. But
But again, do you feel you saw it right away because of so much work you've done?
That's my point, is I was definitely well prepared for it. My journey started actually 18 months even before I went to go do ayahuasca, where I was already meditating on a constant daily basis and already started to rewire my brain. Again, as someone who was triggered by everything and anything and just lived in constant fear because of all of my childhood programming, that got undone through meditation. And I experienced in meditation what a lot of people experience in plant medicine ceremony, which is this higher state of consciousness. So by no means do you need to go do plant medicine to heal yourself or to experience, higher levels of consciousness or to rewire your brain. Not at all. It does speed up the process, or another way of saying it does basically make you do the work, versus, maybe I don't want to meditate, maybe I don't have time to meditate, maybe I don't want to do the work, maybe I don't want to go to talk to someone for 10 years and hopefully get better. So,
right, because at the end of the day, that's the whole goal here, is to accelerate that self-awareness and levels of consciousness, and really, I guess, start understanding yourself. Is that, or understanding the universe, or both?
Both, but your true self is the universe. We're not separate from that at all. We can talk about that as well.
Right.
But most people are not living in their true self because of the ego, which again has been created since even before childbirth. So we think we're this entity that the mind paints. So I am this, I am Jeremy, this is who I am, this is my history, this is my past, and this is what I'm all about. And that's the image that we live under.
Mm-hmm.
And that image is usually an image of total separateness from everything, right? It's every man for themselves in ego mode. That's why the ego creates all this fear, is because it thinks that it needs to stand up for itself, otherwise it's going to be annihilated, right? It's just going to die. It's either going to die or someone's going to do something to it that's going to put it down, right? So we live under this.
That's the natural thinking state of ego.
That's
to protect that ego.
Right, to protect itself. It's a separate entity. It's here for its own survival and basically, yeah, that's it. So what plant medicine does, or when you live in your true authentic self, is you realize you're really not separate from anything. You're tapped into this one unified field. So in a good way of explaining this field, it's like, you ever think of somebody and then they call, or like just coincidences that happen, you're like, oh, that's strange, like why,
or deja vu,
or even when you have like gut feelings. So that's basically the unified field, and that's the information that's actually available to all of us when we're aware and when we are in a higher state of consciousness, when we're less in the mind, when we're less in our stories, when we're less in anticipation mode. So in other words, when we're not thinking too far ahead of the future or thinking of the past, we become present, so we're tapped into this field. So when you do plant medicine, you're tapped and it puts you into that state of consciousness. It bypasses the ego. Right. So it basically puts the ego to the side and it shows you this is what you are.
Do you feel fear, or you feel totally safe, or somewhere in between?
So it depends. When fear comes up, so it's coming up for a reason. So fear is coming up when you do plant medicine and fear comes up, it wants you to look at it and see that it's an illusion actually. So it'll bring up fears, it'll bring up maybe childhood events, but it's bringing it up for a reason, because it wants your higher consciousness to kind of shed light onto it. And when you shed light onto old fears or any types of ego-created situations, it all of a sudden
financial, relationship, self-thought, it could be anything.
It could be anything.
So, okay, it sheds light on it, and I'm stressed about, money and Browns and I'm stressed, and it sheds light on it. What is it? What's the interpretation from that?
So, I mean, obviously it's different all the time, but usually what happens is, because you're in such a high state of consciousness and awareness, you're looking at the fear and you're realizing, wait a second, this is actually a story. And you kind of go through the fear. So you go through this fear, and then the opposite side of the fear, when you get through it, you experience bliss and joy or unity or wholeness or oneness. So when it puts you through this process, it's very healing, because then when you're done and then you come back to everyday life, things pop up and you're like, oh, okay, so that's just fear, and that's actually just an illusion, because I was just in ceremony and I saw how it was just an illusion. Right. So it makes like everyday life just easier, more bearable, and again, we were going to talk about the benefits, but we're doing them now. It just makes life more playful and less stressed and less tense and less things to be anxious about, because you know that there's more to life than what your ego mind has been creating all these years.
So you said a couple different things, that life is playful and life is a game, and we're all part of this universe, and that's deep, and that's great. And I'm sure people are very quick to agree with you, right? Like, yeah, we get it, but I still have to do this, and I still have to go to work, and I still have to do this, and
Mm-hmm. So yeah, none of that goes away, but what goes away is your reaction to things. Are you the way that you do things? So the quality of your actions. So for example, let's say you dread going to work. You got a 9 to 5 job, you do not enjoy it. Well, that's because you're living in your ego, and your ego has actually created that story. But at the end of the day, just being alive and breathing and being in tune to your body, and that's why things like yoga and working out work, is because it makes you more in tune to your body. And just being in tune to your body and breathing is enough to change the quality of the action that you're doing. So even though maybe you don't enjoy your 9 to 5 job, do you enjoy just breathing and sitting there and maybe typing emails? Just change the way you look at things. Again, it's really just a matter of changing the how you approach things, if that makes sense. Are you resisting? Are you resisting life because, again, ego created? Or are you accepting just being in this game? You're not going to like every circumstance, but do you like life? So
this trip, you had 5 ceremonies.
I did.
Well, we'll get to the 5 in a second. Did you prep any special like you did in the past? Like in the past, you fasted, you didn't drink caffeine, like.
Yeah. So I feel like my whole new life is preparation. And what I mean by that is, I don't eat animal products, which is highly recommended for any time you go into plant ceremony, because animal products, they ground you in the animal. And again, we've talked about this before, that whatever you're consuming, you're taking on that consciousness. Okay,
Right.
So if you're eating a lot of red meat, you're taking on that animal's consciousness. So when you go into plant ceremony, you don't want to have that animal's consciousness in you.
Right.
Okay, so
You are what you eat.
you are
Like-
what you eat, exactly.
like-
So you don't want to take that stuff with you. So no animal products.
So the fact that the animal had stress or toxins or whatever happened with that animal, that's what you're taking into your body, and again,
It's going to be exposed.
It's cells connecting, whether you like it or not. That's what it is at the end of the day.
Yeah.
and that's what's going to come out.
It's going to come out, because that's what the medicine does, is it brings out your body, your mind, whatever's in
So
there.
you got to clean your body out from that.
Yes.
At minimum weeks, right?
Correct.
Okay.
I did cut out on coffee, and I think that's it. Other than that,
Did you write goals for, or have some anticipated? I guess you call it integrations, but goals of what you wanted to get out of the trip prior to the trip.
yeah. So you need intention going into. First of all, you need intention in everyday living. You need to set your intention, and we talk about this too. Of
Right.
What's your intention for the day? So I definitely did have intentions for all the ceremonies. There was one kind of overall intention, and that was to heal.
Mm-hmm.
That was my main intention. And, you might ask, well, Jeremy, you've been doing all this work. Like, what do you mean by heal? Well, the ego is so, it's just been around for, my entire life. And just to say that, oh, you can just be ego free and living in this pure state of oneness, it's not realistic. So there's still some ego work that needed to be done. There was still some rewiring of old patterns that were established at childhood or even before childhood. You know, some of this stuff, actually, a lot of this stuff is passed down from generations to generations. And we talk about like breaking the chain, and that's what it really means. So there was definitely still some old negative mind patterns that I know I had. And that was my main intent, was to go into this plant ceremony and fix it.
Got it?
Yeah, I mean, I've kind of already seen and know what this universe is all about. So it wasn't about that. It wasn't like show me something that I haven't seen. It was literally just let's go in here, let's do the work, let's heal, let's get better. That was my intention.
Okay.
And I got it right away.
Nice. Okay, fine. So the 5 ceremonies.
Five ceremonies.
So you got it from ceremony 1?
Yeah. So, okay, let's just, before ceremony 1, it was a long trip down there. I had a 3-hour layover, and then I had a 3-hour bus ride from Cancun to Tulum. And there wasn't a lot of water, and I was really dehydrated. And I got there at like 7 p.m. after waking up at 3:30 in the morning
Right.
the previous day, and I had a massive headache. I almost said that, you know what, let me just sleep and let's just start tomorrow. But something inside of me said, no, just go hit the pipe. So,
So describe it. So you take it's like a regular pipe to like a tobacco pipe.
no, it's glass. It's like a crack pipe.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And then
So you take a nice, slow, very slow hit, and then you
Fully
hold
inhale?
it, fully inhale, and you hold it in as long as you can.
okay. What if you
And-
can't inhale? Like I can't inhale. I would cough forever.
You can inhale. There was an 87-year-old lady there.
But the age doesn't matter. I just physically
I know,
can't
but
inhale.
I'm
I've
saying-
tried cigarettes. I've tried
Really?
it. Yeah, I cannot.
Maybe you just need ayahuasca where you drink it. But so you take a slow hit and you hold it in, and then it starts. So
Right away.
Well, no, there's actually, and what we call it, you know, we're kind of discussing everything, and we call it this waiting room area. So, how much time do we have?
It's a little 50. It's okay.
Damn. Okay, so there's this like jumping in or diving in, and we call it like this waiting area. So as you're like holding it in, all of a sudden like this like kaleidoscope moving experience is happening to you.
Okay.
And then you just jump in, you just dive in. You're literally like diving in. So the first night I named all the ceremonies. The first one I called the cellular purge, because basically it was like I was inside of my body seeing like this detoxification happening on the finest level, like the cellular level. Perhaps it was happening in the brain. I think it was actually a combination of some rewiring in the brain that was leading into my body. And I'm just seeing like all of this like stuff, like call it like tar or whatever, just stuff that was not needed leaving my body. But I'm in it. So I'm not in my mind. I'm in this field of like it happening.
Right.
So Genesee was there, and her business partner were Jen there too. So we did like a 3-way ceremony, and they were purging with me. Like my feeling was that we were all healing each other. That's how intense it was. It was like I knew I was in this field, but we were all 3 of us were in this field. It was pretty intense.
And by healing, just in general, like this is medicine. This isn't drugs where this is killing brain cells and bad for you and whatever else. This is called medicine for a reason. And when you're saying healing, it ties back in with medicine, right? Because I mean, it does. It degenerates your brain cells. It doesn't kill them.
No, yeah, 100%. I mean, there's actually research out there about, so DMT is the active ingredient that creates the psychedelic experience. And it's actually even called the spirit molecule because right before death, they know that it's released in the brain. So it's like a precursor to showing you what's next before you actually go to what next.
Okay.
You like experience it in this physical form.
Right.
So that's what's released in the brain is this DMT. And actually, you're right. It is known to regenerate like brain cells and help with the protein that it creates to like fix the brain. Like
Right.
there's already studies out.
Rewire, refix it,
Mhm.
replace brain cells, etc. So
Exactly.
it's really interesting on I guess on all the studies are just amazing. Again, we've talked about it in previous, Johns Hopkins and Harvard and the biggest universities in the world are studying this because why are they studying it? Is because it is to give human beings an edge. Like we've come so far, but yet we can go so much further as humans in a society, and they feel plant medicine is that path. So it's really interesting. Oh, okay, so you named the 5 ceremonies.
Yeah, the
First ceremony.
cellular purge, because again, literally, like, I'm in my body and I'm seeing my body being cleaned and purging, like out the back. So, anyways, my headache was totally gone after that. Like, I
Sure.
felt amazing.
Sure.
So then, I ate, went to sleep. Second day, again, it was private, and I called this one presence within the body. So my intention was actually to be even more present. That was my intention. And then when I smoked, I actually did not go deep. So when you go in deep, you're just, you don't even feel your body at all. This one was, I felt my body and I felt the vibration of my body, and I felt how I'm just energy. We're all just energy.
Right.
Like I was vibrating and feeling energy.
It's cool.
Yeah. So that was the second one. The third one was the first group. So I think we had eight other participants in the group, and we're sitting around in a circle. We all give our intent, and then we go around and we hit the pipe. So this one I call the blueprint of the soul.
Right.
And I've actually had this one before. So if you can imagine looking at a blueprint of your entire soul, this is how it felt like. And what I mean by the soul, I mean by not your physical body, not anything that looks like you. It's this intelligence that the mind can't even explain, but you're seeing it, and you're seeing it being born, and you're seeing it going through some sort of like phase, and you see it like surrendering, and you see it like growing, and then you see it dying. And it's like this loop, and you know that this is you, or at least part of you. I mean, so anyways, I was totally out of my body. And when I got back in, Genesee was like, Jeremy, I've never seen you move and basically grown like that before. So, and I didn't even know that I was like moving and contorting my body. So it's like this medicine is, again, it's ripping stuff apart and fixing stuff through the brain, through the body. I mean, it was intense. It was intense.
It's amazing.
So that was the third one.
Okay, fourth.
Fourth one, I call it the healers. So this was, again, a private ceremony with Jen and Genesee. And I didn't go in deep, but they had a sound bowl, and they were mixing in with the sound vibration. And again, I felt like, again, just like if you can almost imagine your body being transparent, feeling transparent.
Yep.
That's how it felt like. It felt like my body was transparent, and it was the same vibration as the sound coming from the sound bowl. Like it was going through me. And Jen noticed like I had some tightness on the back of my back, and she was doing something there and definitely released some sort of blockage.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So I called that one the healers. And the fifth one, which was also another group ceremony, I call it the other life. This was the first time ever that I experienced basically being on another planet. It was like I was reincarnated on another planet.
That's crazy.
And it was as if I was for sure there.
Okay, quickly, like what's a planet? What does that feel like?
It was just like space. It was very
like you felt like you were on the moon or
something like that. Yeah. Again, it happens so fast. The thing is with Tepesguite is you're only in for about 10 to 20 minutes. And things are moving so fast in front of you. The imagery is moving so fast in front of you. And I think it's happening so fast for a reason, because we're not supposed to know the truth, the total truth, right? The total truth we experience within.
Right.
But just to have everything laid out for you and like, here, this is exactly how it is. I don't know if that's, that's not the purpose of the medicine. So everything is happening so fast, but I knew for sure I was somewhere else, not on this planet, not in this solar system. So what I take from that is, again, this is not our only life. Like, we are being reincarnated for the purpose of our soul's evolution. And I must have either sometime in the future or sometime in the past reincarnated somewhere else. And this was a memory of it, because everything, again, is inside of us. So all of this, again, is like, when I'm talking about seeing the blueprint and seeing like creation of the soul, that's the consciousness inside of me that now the medicine has allowed me to be aware of.
So would you say it's like subconscious becoming conscious? Like it's sitting there, it's sitting in all of us and it becomes conscious?
So,
or is it from the work you've done too that...
No, we all have the same pure consciousness inside all of us. The difference is how deep of that consciousness are we accessing. So when we do, like, for example, breath work or meditation, now we're increasing our consciousness level so we can see more of it.
Right.
When you're doing plant medicine, it's taking you even deeper into your consciousness. You can call it subconsciousness, but ultimately it is all just one consciousness. When you're dreaming and you access information in your dreams, you're going into your subconscious, but that's your consciousness overall, right? So what it all does is, again, it bypasses the mind, it pushes the mind aside, and it lets you experience stuff that you would not experience. Because right now we're living only in five senses. Whatever we experience in our five senses is our world, but there's more.
Right.
So it's pushing those senses away and it's opening you up to your sixth sense. So like your true being.
Crazy. Okay, so you're on this planet.
Yeah, and again, it's I can't dive much deeper into it because it's just everything is happening so fast.
Right.
But what I take from it is, again, this is not the only place my soul has been or will be. Like, we're eternal beings. We're just having this experience.
When you put it, when you hear how big the universe is explained and how small and how long time has gone, I mean, hundreds of millions of years or billions of years, billions of years, and how big the universe is, and here we are, this little speck, living from 1976 to hopefully 2076, but like in this small little speck of time, small little speck of the universe, like how could you even have ego when you really think about how little we are, right? And I guess that's the point, is that we shouldn't do it, and we're just part of this ridiculous, like, you can't even explain why we are in this time, where we are, the fact that there's, I mean, who knows how many species and living human beings or living beings here and in the universe and beyond universes, and we might be one of who knows how many universe. Like it's so crazy to even try to wrap your head around. But the whole point is that it's easier when you're here to tap into how connected we are and how we're just. I mean, it's got to be like who made your soul? Like where did soul come from? Like what makes me me? And of course, when you think about it, of course we got to be ongoing and on living. And where does that go?
Yeah.
It's a lot easier to wrap your head to believe it when you can start thinking about and connecting your brain to it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Which
And
is-
and just separating yourself from your mind is the key, because again, the mind is the entity that thinks that this is it. You're here on Earth. This happened by accident, and then you're done.
right.
Right? That's what the mind does. But that's just not the facts. And all of the answers are inside of you. It's just about tapping into it. Like whenever you have intuition or feelings, you're closer. You're closer to your true self. You're living more inside of your inner body versus just in your mind. So that's a good kind of step to take in daily living, is to just be more in tune to how your emotions and your heart feel. And again, just knowing that this is not it makes it easier to live in peace, to not take things so seriously, to understand that you're here for a specific reason. Your soul actually picked you, this body, your family, for a specific reason, for some sort of learning, for some sort of soul development. Everything is conscious.
For purpose, and for purpose searching, right? I mean, that's what you're basically describing, is that you're here for a reason. Figure it out.
Yeah, and you don't even have to. The way to figure it out is through yourself, nothing else. Nothing else.
Right.
So everything is consciousness. Everything is conscious.
Jeremy, what's next? When's your next one?
I don't know. Might take a little break. I'm definitely good right now. I always just listen to, my intuition, and if I feel like there's a calling, then I'll do it. If not, then I'm good.
Well, the ripple effect that you have on me, on our clients, on our employees is amazing. We definitely get a lot of benefit out of this as well. Our audience, I'm sure, appreciates it. Okay, we'll leave by if someone's thinking about doing this.
If someone's already thinking about doing it, then they will do it,
then they will do it.
because they're in the field.
And to reach out, I'm happy to.
Oh, absolutely.
Happy
Feel
to
free to
talk.
always reach out, message me. If you have my number, text me or call me. If not, you can find me on Facebook, Jeremy Torchinsky, Instagram, Jeremy Torchlife, or of course at Zero Doubt Club. Reach out and I will definitely talk to you and return the message.
Everyone, have an amazing day in this vast universe.
In this amazing universe. And just remember, it's all a game.
That's all again.
See ya.
ya.